Hey kids, are you home and don't know what to do? Then Kaieteur Radio has got you covered. Join us every day, Monday to Friday at 12 hours 30 for a special edition of Kids Zone. We will bring to you exciting facts on science, mammals, birds, sharks, you've named it, we've got it. We've even got fun and craft activities for you to do right at home, not forgetting our maths and English segment to keep you up top of the game. Listen to stories and poems read by your fellow kids. And if you would like to be a part of this program, then have your parents contact us on 622-2222 or email us at kaieteurradio@gmail.com. Kids Zone, only on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1, 99.5 FM. The radio with a difference.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Hello and welcome to your news at noon right here on Kaieteur Radio. Kevin Smith here. Before we get to the top stories we are tracking, let's get to the front page comment brought to you by Kaieteur News. We demand better deals. Foreign investors fetch away our riches and leave us empty-handed and hungry. Not content with only raping our resources, they also abuse and discriminate against our workers while putting us against each other. The Americans cart off our oil. The Chinese decimate our forests. The Russians pillage our bauxite ore. The Canadians ream away our gold. They take everything and leave very little behind. And all of them are granted license to do this by our leaders. Our leaders have betrayed us. They, along with the foreign investors, wave before us the promise of jobs, asking a desperate nation to settle for the crumbs which are offered. It is time to demand better from our leaders. It is time to reject their sweet talk and glossy promises. We must insist on an end to the one-sided and lopsided deals which our leaders make with foreign investors. Let them obtain more for our wealth so that instead of relying on foreigners for jobs, we ourselves can create our own jobs. Revisit and reconsider all the signed agreements with foreign investors operating in the local bauxite, gold, oil, and forestry sectors. If they refuse to give us a better deal, kick them out. And now for the top stories we are tracking in today's News at Noon. In the $150 million decade-long CJIA renovation scandal, President Ali tells Chinese contractor and other stakeholders, "I will not accept this project. Investigations to be launched." Guinness Oil will give Hess 10% growth rate in a few years despite pandemic, and public school boys share top places at 2020 NGSA. Asphalt racket uncovered, and Minister Teixeira says untraceable Florida company handed $30 million for birth certificates by APNU AFC. Investigations reveal that company headed by Larry London. The news came to you with the kind compliments of Amalanda Milk. Do stay tuned.
Them of their childhood. It's an unforgivable, unforgettable, despicable act, and yet children suffer this abuse every day. During these times, we must keep a watch out for children. If you suspect child abuse, report it to the police without delay or call the CPA hotline on 227-0979. Protect children now.
A message from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, and UNICEF.
And now for the news in detail. Years of anger over the ongoing $150 million plus US dollar expansion at the Chedi Jagan International Airport culminated yesterday with an angry President Irfan Ali making it clear that Guyana will not be accepting the project as is. The president also vowed an investigation will be coming and that it is unacceptable that a fixed price project could be so drastically reduced in scope. The highly charged statements would have been made in the presence of Chinese ambassador Sui Jun-chun and come days after a high-profile visit of the the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who batted for his country, urging that Guyana use U.S. companies more. The Donald Trump-led United States has been on icy terms with China, and it was the PPPC which had launched the project in 2011, with China Harbor Engineering Company being named the contractor. In other news, as a result of the economic pains unleashed on oil and gas multinationals and service companies during the COVID-19 pandemic, it is expected that some would take years to recover from the losses sustained. But this is certainly not the case for Hess Corporation, which holds a 30% stake in the Stabroek Block. According to the company's CEO, John Hess, its interest in blocks offshore Guyana will pave the way for it to see a 10% growth rate by 2023. Hess said that at the end of the day, it is the low-cost producer who wins, while adding that the best rocks with the best returns will ensure some companies are well positioned for success after the pandemic. While the Stabroek Block Consortium, which includes ExxonMobil as the operator and CNOOC Nexen, have already chalked up 18 massive discoveries, Hess Corp CEO was keen to note that this is still the early innings for Guyana. The CEO said that Hess continues to see multi-billion barrels of future exploration potential remaining on the block. In other news, despite the challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic, pupils who sat the National Grade 6 assessment written on July 1st and 2nd, 2020, have done exceedingly well. This is according to Chief Education Officer Dr. Marcel Hudson. In fact, Dr. Hudson said that this year's top NGSA performance, Samuel Marcoy of North Georgetown Primary and Rovin Lal of Selamaris Primary, each secured 525 marks, 3 marks short of the highest attainable score of 528. Alexander Singh, a pupil of the Marion Academy, came in 3rd position with 524 marks, while 2 candidates, Liana Darampal of Monrepo Primary and Brandon Ramden of Westfield Prep, who gained 523 marks, shared the 4th position. And moving on, details are now emerging of what seems to be a racket involving the purchase of asphalt at a state-run entity. According to well-placed sources, contractors working on government projects were up to recently mandated to take their asphalt from the Garden of Eden plant. We were told by a number of persons that contractors would get asphalt at huge discounts under a scam that stretched all the way to the Ministry of Public Works. It was explained that the contractors would come in a few days later and pay about half the price for the asphalt. The asphalt plant is being operated by the Demerara Harbour Bridge Corporation. It would mean that the state would have lost tens of millions of dollars in revenues. In fact, operators of privately run asphalt plants have been complaining of little or no business. It was explained that the only way this made financial sense is if the contractors were getting discounts. In other news, according to the Minister of Governance and Parliamentary Affairs, Gail Teixeira, the previous APNU-AFC regime had awarded $30 million to a barely discernible Floridian registered company for the procurement of 20,000 birth certificates during the period 2019 to 2020. What is further alarming, the minister told House, is that the contract was signed by long-term stalwart and executive member of the PNC, Larry London, who was recently at the center of political controversy. In fact, in August of this year, we had reported that London, once listed as co-owner of the controversial Homestretch Development Incorporated, the company behind the Durban Park project, was given a mystery job by the previous Granger administration. Based on calculations, the APNU-AFC would have paid $1,500 each for the 20,000 birth certificates, when in reality, the average birth certificate may cost no more than a meager $100. You are tuned into Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM, and this is your News at Noon. Coming up after the break, Ramjitan bypassed board to approve firearm licenses, says Robeson Ben. President Ali urges for more resources, financing in maiden UN address, and says COVID-19 has exposed weaknesses of developing country. Landline services restored to Region 3. Meanwhile, 50 law graduates signal intention to become prosecutors, and further spike in COVID-19 cases could break our health system, says emergency medicine specialist. Do stay tuned.
Enjoy Free Night Talk with Digicel, the curfew edition. Get unlimited free talk to any Digicel number between 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. All you have to do is top up $1,000 or more every day before 6 p.m. to enjoy unlimited free talk. That's a whole lot of gaff. No more boring nights. You can now call your mommy, daddy, your bestie, your boo, even granny to tell them all that Digicel unlimited free night talk is back. Terms and conditions apply. Digicel, there with you.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. Minister of Home Affairs Robson Ben has put the former Minister of Public Security, Kemraj Ramjatan, on blast for single-handedly issuing gun licenses. During his budget debate presentation, Ben stated that Ramjatan was issuing firearm licenses without any engagement with the Firearm Licensing Board, and more so while his government was in caretaker mode following the no-confidence motion. Minister Ben said it appears as though 2020 was a banner year for the issuance of firearms at the hand of the minister without the engagement of the Firearm Licensing Board. 61% of all firearms issued in 2020 were issued at the hands of the minister without engaging in the licensing board. The Firearm Licensing Board would have been bypassed by other officials in the past, including former Commissioner of Police Silal Prasad. And moving on, Head of State Irfan Ali has urged the UN to push for more help to countries hard hit by COVID-19. Ali also made it clear that the world must seek to strengthen solidarity to address the pandemic, take forward the 2030 agenda and intensify the global partnerships. It was 5 years ago that the UN adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and its 17 Sustainable Development Goals as a blueprint and compass to address poverty challenges facing the globe. Sadly, Ali said the COVID-19 pandemic has undermined many of the development gains of the past decade. The president insisted that the imposition of unilateral coercive economic measures against developing countries is an impediment to economic and social development and to dialogue and understanding among countries. And moving on, GTT announced Sunday night that it restored landline services to customers in Region 3, completing underwater repairs ahead of schedule. The company had said that last September 8, suspected sabotage to a fiber optic cable belonging to GTT impacted over 25,000 customers in West Demerara. Within 24 hours, mobile and internet services were restored, but landline service remained impacted. GTT's public relations manager Jasmine Harris explained that to fully restore service to Region 3, approvals from the Maritime Administration Department was necessary, and divers had to map the points of the damage to begin splicing and repairs. Persons can report acts of sabotage to GTT infrastructure by calling 0908 or emailing tips@gtt.co.gy. A $2 million reward is being offered. And now coming from the DPI, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Mohabir Anil Nandlal has said that 50 law graduates from UG have indicated their interest in being trained to serve as prosecutors. The graduates, all holders of Bachelor of Laws degrees, will have to take a one-year accredited prosecutorial training program at UG, which will soon be implemented. This will be done through support from the Criminal Justice System program, which is funded by the Inter-American Development Bank, aimed at strengthening Guyana's prosecutorial services. Graduates who are selected will be hired as prosecutors in the magistrates' courts in collaboration with the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Guyana Police Force. In other news, social distancing is one of the key tactics being pushed to combat the spread of the very contagious COVID-19 disease. So it is no surprise that recent protests have caused much worry among those within our healthcare system. Since early August, Guyana has been witnessing an alarming increase in cases suggesting an extraordinary spread of the disease. Dr. Zulfikar Bucks, an emergency medicine specialist, said should a spike in cases materialize in coming days, it could easily overwhelm the medical system. He went on to say that if we continue to destroy the environment that we depend on for our survival, then there will come a point where each and every one of us cannot thrive. As such, surviving the disease, he underscored, is dependent on sensible people working together in a responsible way to fight the virus. The time is now 12 hours 17. Coming up next is your COVID-19 update.
Are you looking for a platform to share your views, concerns, and stay informed? Then Wake Up Guyana is for you. Join senior journalist Leonard Gildari Monday to Friday at 13 hours for Wake Up Guyana. Participate in our call-in segment to get instant feedback and solutions. Wake Up Guyana, only on Kaieteur Radio. Kaieteur Radio, the radio with a difference.
And now for your COVID-19 update. The number of worldwide coronavirus cases, according to Worldometer, has reached 31,551,319, with deaths at 970,535. Recovery cases worldwide has reached 23,165,459. As the COVID-19 cases continue to mount, the Ministry of Public Health yesterday announced 2 more related deaths. The COVID-19 death toll now stands at 67. In a release, the ministry regrettably informed that as of 15 hours on September 21st, another person who tested positive for the novel coronavirus has died. A few hours later, the ministry reported another death, stating that as of 18 hours, one other person who tested positive has died. Canadian-owned Scotiabank says it will fully reopen its Carmichael Street Georgetown branch on Monday after a temporary closure due to a staffer testing positive. The bank said that on Friday, September 25th, it will partially reopen with only teller transactions being facilitated for withdrawals or deposits that cannot be done at the ATM and express check deposits. On Monday, there will be full resumption of services. And coming from CNN, the U.S. is nearing 200,000 coronavirus deaths, accounting for around a fifth of all COVID-19 related facilities recorded worldwide. The CDC abruptly reverted to its previous guidance about how coronavirus is transmitted, after saying on Friday that the virus can spread through the air. Many European governments have imposed strict local measures and begun weighing further lockdowns in a bid to halt a second wave of the pandemic. Pubs, bars, restaurants, and other hospitality venues in England will have to close by 10 p.m. local time each night to tackle the surge of cases in the country.
And that's the news of the moment. Remember to get the full details of these stories, pick up a copy of the Kaieteur News. And don't forget, you can catch us on the MyTuner app as well as the Radio Garden app. You can also keep up to date by liking our Facebook page at Kaieteur Radio and subscribing to our YouTube channel, Kaieteur Radio Livestream. Oh, also catch our stream at www.kaieteurnewsonline.com/radio.